Most respected Thai, dear beloved community, today is the 31st of March in the year 2024. We are in the Upper Hamlet, the Dharma Cloud Temple, the still water meditation hall. And today is Easter Day. So please enjoy the three sounds of the bell. Breathing in, I know I am alive. Breathing out, I smile to the life that is in me and around me. So, dear Sangha, it is told of a Zen master that one day he came in to give a Dharma talk and he didn't say anything. And outside there was a bird singing. And after the bird sang for quite a long time, and after the bird had finished singing, he said, "The Dharma talk is over," and he went out. But I don't know how many people enjoyed that Dharma talk, because maybe they were waiting for him, the Zen master, to say something about no birth and no death. And actually, the bird was singing about no birth and no death. Emptiness. Emptiness of the song, emptiness of the bird. It is told in the Gospels that after the Sabbath which came after Jesus had been crucified, Mary Magdalene, his mother, came to the tomb with the intention to roll away the stone and take care of the body. That is, anoint the body with herbs, with spices. But when they came to the tomb, the stone had already been rolled away. And they saw the shroud. The shroud is what is put on the body after it is put in the tomb. The clothes were folded and put on one side, and there was no body in the tomb. And so then they went outside and they saw what they thought is the gardener, and his mother, Mary, asked her, what have they done with the body? Please tell me where you put the body so I can go and take care. And then Jesus said that the gardener was Jesus, yeah. But she didn't recognize straight away. So he had to call by her name, and then she recognized. And there are every gospel a little bit different a story, but every gospel tells of how Jesus was resurrected, came to life after being crucified and after having died, and met people, disciples, and they did not recognize him at first. But later on, when they saw him do something like break the bread, they recognized. That is Jesus who is resurrected. We have a meditation that we do, and it's let the Buddha breathe. I don't need to breathe. Let the Buddha walk. I don't need to walk. The Buddha is breathing. I enjoy the breathing. The Buddha is walking. I enjoy the walking. The Buddha is the breathing. The Buddha is the walking. I am the breathing. I am the walking. It means that outside of the action of breathing, of walking, you cannot find the Buddha. Just as outside of the action of breaking the bread, you cannot find Jesus Christ. And there were for some time, maybe a month or so, that Jesus Christ would continue to appear in a bodily form to his disciples in different places. But then it said he went up into heaven to be with God the Father. So after that, it's the responsibility of his disciples to continue Jesus Christ. The Buddha is the walking. The Buddha is the sitting. That is, we recognize the Buddha in the walking, in the sitting. We recognize Jesus Christ in the breaking of the bread. So we have a sutra, it's called Anuradha Sutra, and in that sutra there is a debate going on in India about whether the Buddha continues to exist or ceases to exist after death. So the first question is, after death, does the Buddha continue to exist? Second question, after death, does the Buddha cease to exist? Third question, does the Buddha both continue and cease to exist? And fourth question, does the Buddha neither continue nor cease to exist? And one of the young disciples of the Buddha, when he was asked by the non-Buddhist monks about those 4 questions, which in your tradition do you learn of these 4 alternatives? And he said, oh, I've never heard the Buddha teach that. And so the non-Buddhist monk said, oh, he must either not be very intelligent or he is very new to the practice. So after that, the young disciple did not feel too good. So he went to the Buddha and he asked, how should I have answered? And the Buddha asked a number of questions. And about when the Buddha is still alive. And the young disciple could not answer any of those questions. And the Buddha said, Anuradha, that is his name, Anuradha, if you cannot find me while I'm alive, how do you hope to find me after I'm dead? So the Buddha is very unmetaphysical. The Buddha just liked to be in the here and now with what we can experience in the here and now and rely on that. Well, in Christian tradition, I think people would say it's obvious the answer. Does Jesus continue to exist after death or cease to exist? They will say continue. Most Christians will say continue to exist. But the question we need to ask is continue to exist in how? Yeah. So that is left to you to answer. So if we we go to the Middle East now, things were not settled in the time of Jesus, but now we see a lot of suffering. And many of us, we feel powerless. We feel desperate, no hope. What can we do, is the question. This is another question we all have to ask for ourselves. If you've read the book, The Miracle of Mindfulness, you will see that at the end of that book, I don't know whether in the latest version it's still there, Thai retells a short story from Tolstoy. And in this story there is a king. And the king wants to know the answer to 3 questions. So the first question is, how should I know at what time is the best time to do something? And the second question is, who should I give my attention to? What person should I give, or what person should I give my attention to? Give importance to. And the third question is, what should I do? What is the most important thing for me to do? And this king felt it's very important to have these questions answered if he's going to rule in the correct way. And so he sent out a decree to the whole country that if anyone can answer these questions satisfactorily, he will receive a reward from the king. And so many philosophers and church leaders, they came with their answers. And all of them had different answers. Or you have to make a timetable so that you know what time to do things which give priority to. And some other people said, oh no, you can't make a timetable because you never know what's going to happen, and many different answers. But the king was not satisfied with any of those answers. But there was a hermit, a holy man, who lived up in the forest on a mountain. And normally that hermit, he did not want to meet the royalty. He did not want to meet the nobility and the rich people. He wanted to save his time for the poor people. And so the king thought, if I go to this hermit as the king, he will not accept me. So he had to take off his robe, his king robe, and put on the clothes of a poor person. And he had his bodyguards take him to the foot of the mountain, and then left them at the foot of the mountain and went up the mountain on his own to meet the hermit. And when he came to the hermit's dwelling place, the hermit was hoeing the earth in order to plant beans. But the hermit was very old, and he was looking very tired from the gardening work he was doing. So the king straight away said, I have 3 questions I need to ask you. And so he asked his 3 questions about what is the best time, who are the best people and to work with, and what is the best thing to do. And the hermit didn't say anything. He just spat in his hand and carried on hoeing the earth. But the king looked at the hermit and saw how he was breathing heavily, that he was old and tired. And so the king said, let me take the hoe and help you. And so he hoed the earth for an hour or so. And then he asked the hermit, please answer my questions. And the hermit said nothing. He said, give me back the hoe, you must be tired by now. So the king kept on digging the earth. And then it was getting quite late. The sun was beginning to go down. And just as the hermit was about to take the hoe again, they heard groaning, and they saw approaching a man who was being wounded, and his blood is pouring from his stomach. And so they put down the hoe, and they immediately ran toward him to help him. And the king took off his clothes and tore them to make a bandage, went down to the stream to fetch the water to wash the wound. And when they had bandaged and washed the wound, they carried him together and put him on the hermit's bed. And by that time it was very late and dark, and the king could not go back that night. So they all 3 of them, they went to sleep. And the king had no bed to sleep on, but he leant against the wall and slept very well because he was very tired. And the next morning, they woke up when the sun was already up in the sky. And at first the king didn't know where he was, and then he recognized, and he looked over to see how the wounded man was. And the wounded man was already looking better. And the wounded man said, "You don't know who I am, but I know who you are. You are the king. And I was very angry with you. I wanted to kill you. And I followed you to the foot of the mountain. And then I saw you go up alone, and I was about to follow you up and to kill you. But your bodyguards caught me, and they wounded me. And so I've come up here, wounded. And now I see all my anger has gone. You've saved my life, and I will serve you for the rest of my life. And please forgive me. And I will ask my sons and daughters also to serve you for their lives." And then the king said, of course he forgave him. And he said why he was angry with the king. He was angry with the king because the king had killed his brother and confiscated all his brother's property. And the king said, "I will return everything that was confiscated." And so enemy became a friend. And then they helped the bodyguards by that time had come up, and they helped the wounded man to go back to be taken care of. And then the king came to the hermit and said, "Now I have to go, but can you answer my question before I go?" And the hermit said, "I don't need to answer your questions. You already know the answer from what happened when you came here. When you came here, the first thing you saw that I was tired, and you took the hoe, and that is mean. You have to do what needs to be done now. The second thing is that when you saw me and when you saw the injured man, you immediately came to help. So the person you need to be there for is the person in front of you, who's with you." And the third thing is, what do you need to do? The most important thing is to help the person who is there in front of you. So this is for us to contemplate on. What can I do? And I can help right here and right now. The person whom I'm with, the person who is near to me, and I can take care of them. Yeah. And I can do that right away. Because if I cannot take care of the person who's close to me, maybe my family or my community, then how can I take care for people who are far from me? And by taking care of those who are close to me, then the ripple, they feel happy and they can take care of others. And we sow the seeds in the collective consciousness. in 1972, the World Council of Churches invited Thai and another monk, the Venerable Huyen Quang, to represent the Buddhist peace delegation in Paris to attend a conference. And the one pastor who was representing the World Council of Churches suggested that all the churches throughout the world should only support those who were being repressed in Vietnam. And he gave a speech, and he said the situation in Vietnam at the moment is that there is a bandit chief raping a girl on the highway. And we have to be clear. Does the church stand on the side of the bandit chief, or does it stand on the side of the girl being raped? And then he explained that the girl being raped is the Vietnamese people, and the bandit is the ruthless US Army. And after that, on the next day, Thai was invited to speak. And he said, "Thank you, Pastor. We have to take the side of the girl being raped and do so without hesitation. But who is the girl being raped? And who is the bandit? As far as I can see, the bandit is the wrong perception of political leaders who sit and make the strategies, the plans, in the US, in Russia, in China, and even in Vietnam. They provide information that is not in accord with the truth. They distort the truth. They hide the truth from their people. They provide arms. They give orders to use force and send onto the battlefield young men of their nation whose hearts are still ardent with an ideal and are ready to sacrifice themselves for some good thing or beautiful thing in life. They change these innocent young men into expert killers who shoot at their human brothers. As far as I see it, the girl being raped is not just the parents, the peasants in Vietnam who are fleeing under the bombs, but is also the young soldiers who are ignorant of the fact that they have been drawn into a machine that destroys brotherhood. That girl being raped is also the American soldiers who know nothing of the truth of Vietnam and go there to support a call to liberate Vietnam from a cruel dictatorship. I remember when I read this, a poem by G.K. Chesterton, "From all that terror teaches, from lies of tongue and pen, from all the cruel speeches that comfort cruel men." So in this way we see that we see this way of not taking sides. And it's very difficult not to take sides. Because if you take sides, at least the side that you take will take care of you, will agree with you, will not want to kill you. But if you don't take sides, neither side wants to take care of you. Both sides see you as an enemy. And in Vietnam, to be neutral was illegal. It was, I don't know how they made it illegal. You have to speak out your neutrality. It would be illegal. And the United States also announced that we should not support neutrality. But neutrality does not mean not to call for peace. It just means to see that both sides suffer deeply. In the past, we used to have retreats for Israelis and Palestinians. And in one retreat I was in the Upper Hamlet, we decided that time that we would, before that we had put Palestinian people and Israeli people in different hamlets. But on this retreat we decided to put everyone in the Upper Hamlet. But there was so much suspicion and fear. And that is the real root. The fear and the suspicion. We all agree to come here for a retreat, but both sides suspect that the other sides are plotting against them. And so when I told Thai about this, Thai immediately said, even though it was quite late and dark, Thai said, now we have to put in separate hamlets. And so we put one, I can't remember which, in the Lower Hamlet and one in the Upper Hamlet. And we practiced for a week, just coming back to ourselves. Mindful eating, mindful breathing, mindful walking. And we did not meet each other for a week. But then the atmosphere was completely different. Because when we just come from the Middle East, we come from an atmosphere that is full of suspicion and fear. And it takes time to be able to let go of all that suspicion and fear. And after a week of practice, it's possible. And so at that time, we started to do the practice which is called listening deeply. In order to be able to listen deeply, we have to be able to follow our breathing. We have to be solid enough in the practice. So one time, one friend who had a real difficulty with her husband and her children, she listened to Thai's Dharma talk when Thai talked about diffusing the bomb. Diffusing the bomb means allowing the other person to speak out all their suffering and to listen with compassion. And after that, she said, oh, now I want to go back and listen, very inspired by one Dharma talk. Now I want to go back and listen deeply to my husband and my children. And her friend, who'd been practicing a long time, said, no, don't do that. You're not ready. Because if you hear the blame, you will immediately react. And you will not be able to listen with compassion. So you need a week retreat, and Thai is coming to the US to lead a week retreat. Please go to the retreat, and then you can go back and listen deeply, and the suffering will no longer will make the other person's suffering will not make you suffer. So we need that time to be able to breathe in order to listen deeply. And if we have peace talks and peace negotiations, really they cannot be peace talks if we have not practiced to listen deeply with breathing. But I don't know how we can bring this into the world. So at that point, we just allow one Palestinian or one Israeli to talk about their suffering, to talk about how they have suffered. We don't need to blame the other side. We just need to talk about our suffering. And then we ask someone else to talk about their suffering. And when we talk in that way without blaming, just letting the other know how much we've suffered, then the other can accept, oh, it's not only my side that suffers, the other side also suffers. And at the end of the retreat, people could see that an Israeli was holding the hand of a Palestinian to practice walking meditation. At the beginning, when they first arrived, there was too much fear and suspicion to do that. In what I just read from Thai said it's not what lies at the root of the conflict is the wrong perceptions and the planning of the making strategies of the politicians. And according to the Buddhist teachings, we need to look at the Four Noble Truths. And the first noble truth is the noble truth of suffering. And the second noble truth is the noble truth of the origin of the suffering. So this is something that we can look at together. The origin of the suffering. We saw that it is the wrong perceptions, the planning of the political leaders, and we could maybe think about the far right policies and things like that, or the far left policies. But then we have to ask ourselves, because we are practicing interbeing, we ask ourselves, where do those wrong perceptions come from? Can we blame the political leaders? And we see that a political leader has to have, whether it's a democracy or it's not a democracy, but more so with a democracy, has to have support. If he doesn't have support, he would not be there. At least he has to have the support of the army. So where does the support come from? Why do these wrong perceptions have support? And that is because in the people there are the seeds of, there is the fear, there is the greed, there is the hatred. And if we look into ourselves, we also see that those seeds are there. But we are lucky we've met the practice, so we are able to transform them. So looking at the origin of the suffering, we can see further than the wrong perceptions, the fear of political leaders. And more recently, Thầy wrote an article, and in that article, Thầy said that in the past, I used to say that our enemy is not man. If we kill humans, with whom shall we live? But now, and then Thầy would say, the enemy is the fear, is the hatred, is the anger, is the violence. But now Thầy does not want to call the fear, the hatred, the anger, or the violence an enemy anymore. We have to deal with these things with compassion as a friend rather than an enemy. So in our own practice, we come across hatred and we come across fear in ourselves. And the time to deal with that hatred and fear is now. And the person we need to deal with is maybe the person that we are irritated with or we are angry with now. Yeah, that is the most important thing for us to do, to help that person who we consider not lovable. This has to do with the practice of metta meditation. When we were in the retreat for Palestinian and Israelis, although they only represented a very small percentage of their population. But other retreats like that have been carried out in the Middle East. But still too small, it's too small a part of the population. But every time that we are able to reconcile with someone, it is a very moving moment, and it contributes to the collective consciousness of reconciliation. So take good care of those seeds in yourself and the people around you. So in those retreats, we would often shed tears when we heard the suffering. And Palestinian listened to Israeli suffering, shed tears. Israeli suffering, listened to Palestinian suffering, shed tears. I don't know whether it was as a result of that retreat, those retreats, but one of our one of our retreatants wrote a song. So I think we will listen to it in a minute. Huh? Can you all see? Huh? And there's another. I cry your tears. Do you feel my pain? Understanding fills my heart because I have been able to feel your pain. I understand and I have compassion. And peace is possible between us. I smile your smile. Do you feel my joy? This is the teaching of interbeing. Happiness is not an individual matter. Suffering is not an individual matter. And if we all suffer now because of what is happening in the Middle East, it is only it's only natural. We should not feel we don't need to suffer. But we also need to smile and feel deep joy when the conditions are there. It's like when the conditions are there for Buddha to manifest, Buddha manifests. Conditions are there for Jesus to manifest, Jesus manifests.
Cry your tears, do you feel whispers a new song. I smile, smile, do you feel my joy? I smile, smile, do you feel my joy? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart. And love whispers a new song. Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart. And love whispers a new song.
Shall we sing one time all together? Okay, thank you, Joanne.
I cry your tears, do you feel my pain? I cry your tears, do you feel my pain? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart. And peace whispers a new song. I smile, smile, do you feel my joy? I smile, smile, do you feel my joy? Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart. And love whispers a new song. Understanding fills my heart, understanding fills my heart. And love whispers a new song.
So, dear Sangha, I think most of us know the discourse on love, whether standing or sitting, lying or lying down or walking, as long as they are awake, they practice mindfulness of love. This is the noblest way of living, free from wrong views, greed and sensual those who practice mindfulness of love will certainly overcome birth and death. So, At any moment during the day, we can send our love. But don't send your love too far away. Don't send it up in the heaven or over the mountain. Send your love to those who need your love, and make it very concrete. You can remind yourself by, if you like to recite the name of Avalokiteshvara, you can remind yourself by reciting Namo Avalokiteshvara. But as you recite Namo Avalokiteshvara, you will follow your breathing. Namo Avalokiteshvaraya. In and out for each Namo Avalokiteshvaraya. And you will feel the love in your heart for those who are near to you. And when you feel the love in your heart for those who are near to you, you can send it a little bit further. You can send it to the Middle East if you like. You can send it to Ukraine or to Russia. But it must be concrete. Now I will read a poem from Thai, which I think you also know. Tomorrow when I leave, this really means when I leave this life, do not say that I have gone. That is, does Thai continue or not continue? Yeah. Because today I keep arriving in life. You can observe my form beyond form in every moment, as a leaf on a spring branch, as a baby bird with soft feathers, cheeping with joy in its new nest, as a green caterpillar on a rose stalk, as a precious gem in the heart of a stone. I keep arriving to cry and to laugh, to yearn and to fear. My coming and going is in every breath. That is, my life is come and goes in every breath. The rhythm of my birth and death is the simultaneous heartbeat of millions of hearts. My heart beats along with millions of hearts. I am the mayfly, larva that metamorphoses on the water's surface. I am the nightingale who comes to the river to catch it. I am the frog swimming in the autumn lake. And I am the water snake that crawls in search of the frog to feed itself. I am the poor Ugandan child, just skin and bones, legs like matchsticks. I am also the manufacturer of bombs to sell when needed to countries in Africa and Asia. I am the 12-year-old girl who, after being raped, throws myself into the deep ocean. I am also the pirate born with a heart that cannot yet look and feel. I am a high-ranking officer of the party, holding the right to live or die in my hands. I am also the person who owe my debt of blood to the people, slowly dying of exhaustion in the re-education camp. My joy is as light and free as the spring sky, warm with 10,000 grassy paths of flowers. My pain is like a pool of tears that has been submerged in the 4 deep oceans. Please call me by my true name, so that I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true name, so that I can wake up and the door of my heart can open, the door of compassion. at the time when the United States was going to war with Iraq, Thai said, if you call the name Saddam Hussein, I will say, yes, I'm here. And if you call the name Bush, I will say, yes, I am here. Because that is the practice that we learn to do in the second touching of the earth. We learn to see that I am the manufacturer of bombs. And I am also the poor child in Africa who is suffering from malnutrition. So we also learn to see that I am the bodhisattva who can bring a joy and light into the world. It's necessary to see both of those things. And if you like, when you do that touching of the earth, you can do the bodhisattva, see yourself as someone who is capable of bringing light, understanding into the world. Into the world. And you can also, after that, when you feel you have enough bodhisattva energy, then you can see that you are one with the person who cuts down the forest, one with the person who makes the manufacturer, director of the company who manufactures bombs. And then if you are in a position to mediate, you will be able to see the suffering of both sides. And it's not easy, because we have also had retreatants who have come here, who are working in the field of mediation, not taking sides. And they say they are blamed by both sides. So this is a work that needs courage. And also needs places like Plum Village where you can come and recharge your batteries when you need to. When you practice love meditation, as long as you are awake, when you are practicing eating meditation, you also practice love meditation. So if you very fortunate to have a glass of clean water to drink. And sometimes you maybe feel a little bit guilty. Why do I have the causes and conditions for clean water to drink when so many people, they don't have that condition today? And then I remember the second of the 5 contemplations. May I eat and drink with mindfulness and gratitude so as to be worthy to receive this water. And at that point I can feel, yes, I am worthy because I am very grateful and I am mindful. So I'm worthy to drink this water. And at the same time I can send my love to those who, and offer up the merit for those who do not have clean water to drink today.